Hello and welcome to another episode of Scott Reads Comics. Today I'm going to cover Marvel's Greatest Comics, issues 93 to 96, published from 1980 to early 1981 by Marvel Comics. This was a reprint title, and as a kid growing up in the 70s and 80s, this is how I mainly consumed early issues of the Fantastic Four. Reprints like this were the way that Marvel kept those stories in circulation before trade paperbacks and graphic novels became the industry standard. And oddly, this 4 issues is about endings because issue 96 was the last issue of this reprint title. And during these 4 issues, Stan Lee steps away from the writing chores of Fantastic Four and Archie Goodwin takes over. Now, I don't exactly know how long Archie lasted because then there were a series of great writers who worked on the book after Stan's departure. But we're going to see as we go through these issues just how amazing the storytelling is. The pairing with John Buscema, who, remember, we're only about a year removed from Kirby's departure from the book, because these issues cover Fantastic Four 113 to 116. And so we're only about a year from Kirby's departure. I think at 101 or 102 is when he left. And John Buscema has come in as Marvel's big gun. He was the heir apparent to Kirby in terms of just raw talent and fandom support, and taken over what was its flagship title at the time, and really kind of continued the maturation of the title post-Kirby with some really fabulous visuals. And it's kind of, although a little bit quirky and weird and quaint in some ways, showing its age, it's a banger of a 4-issue storyline, and so it's going to be fun to talk about here and look at. So I'm going to put 94 through 96 aside, and we're going to start with issue 93. And I just love montage covers like this. This one has it all. The coming of the Overmind. The Watcher speaks. The fate of the Thing. Mr. Fantastic fights back. The Torch in action, and much more. And I love the rich purple background here with some Kirby crackle going on. And then, of course, centrally we have the Overmind, who, after this series, this was my introduction to the Overmind, but I don't think we would see this character again until an issue of Defenders, which I'll talk about a little bit at the end. But let's dive in. I do have to mention the Thing corner piece, really cool. I think that's a Kirby corner piece there. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Let's dive in. The Fantastic Four, the power of the Overmind. Story, Stan the Man Lee. Penciling, Big John Buscema. Embellishment, Jolton Joe Sinnott. Lettering, Artie Simic. And reprint editor, Danny Fingeroth. And we can see here, originally presented in Fantastic Four 113, which came out in 71. So this is about 10 years later, a little less. And we have a great splash page. Everyone thinks the Thing is dead. He's just been clobbered by the Hulk. There was an epic battle in the previous issue between the Thing and the Hulk, which is recapped here as the Torch rages, because Reed Richards is... He tried to stop the Torch from interfering because the battle had caused wanton destruction around the city of New York. And here we have it recapped. We were just squaring off. He was ready for my attack. But then, unexpectedly, he heard the voice of the girl he loved. He turned, and before I could stop my blow, it was all over for him. So this is Bruce Banner, this is the only time we're going to see him in these 4 issues. Transformed back from the Hulk into Bruce Banner, and really with a very clear memory of what happened as the Hulk, which is out of character for the character. But we'll allow that storytelling device that Stan uses to get folks up to speed who'd missed the previous issue. So the FF because of the wanton destruction in the city. There's a warrant for their arrest to appear before a judge to answer for it. And let's get a little bit of this snappy Stan dialogue here. Hey, watch it. He's getting away. No time to explain. You can't hold me now. He's stretching like rubber. Where'd he go? I hate to do this, but I must. I'll just wrap you up for a few seconds and then let you go when I'm in the clear. That gave me the time I needed to roll myself into the shape of a ball. Oh no, reinforcements. They've all the corners blocked. That's it, keep firing. Don't give him a chance to plan. He's bouncing aimlessly in panic. Why is he trying so desperately to escape? And let me pause for a second to comment on something I've mentioned on the show before that's been well documented in interviews. John Buscema did not like drawing superhero comics, yet John Buscema was supremely good at drawing superhero comics. And it's witnessed again here, showing all the different ways Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, can use his powers. He's trying so desperately to get away because part of him knows that while the thing seems dead, he's, of course, still alive. And it's a bit of an obvious fake out by Stan here, because you know the thing's not dead at the beginning of this story. But there's still some gravity to it, some urgency. They do escape the authorities. They do get the thing back to the Baxter building, and Reed uses his scientific know-how to revive the thing. I thought I detected a heartbeat, and if I'm right, this energy booster will be all that's... Face it, Big Mouth, you're always right. Ben! Great close-up on the thing's face there. What's everyone looking so surprised about? You didn't think that big green gorilla could polish off the thing. So, Reed also offers to Ben the chance to cure himself, to transform himself back into Ben Grimm. And we've come a long way from this man, this monster, the pathos and the tragedy of that classic FF story, I think FF 51, because Ben unceremoniously destroys the device. Not anymore, there ain't. I'm done messing around with trying to change myself. I never had a chance to realize before how much I like being the blue-eyed, blushing thing. And since my sweet patootie likes me this way, then that's it. So Alicia's there, and they're going to go off and celebrate. But meanwhile, this mysterious gleaming light is rocketing towards the FF, arrives at their headquarters, and it is Uatu, the Watcher. The Watcher, I should have guessed, but nothing would bring him to Earth this way unless the universe itself is in dire danger. Check out this splash page. Awesome. I call it a splash page. It's really not. It's just a full-page illustration in the midst of the story, but it has the impact of a splash page for sure. And it's just, the Watcher is a funny character because based on who's drawing him, he always looks a little bit different. I kind of like Buscema's version. John Byrne's version is probably my favorite with the exaggeratedly large cranium. But this version is also very cool. And of course, he's just the classic toga-wearing space god that we've come to expect from Marvel and other comics. And Star Trek as well, the original. Once again, I have violated the oath of my people to tell you what I have beheld. So he's going to warn them, and he basically has one word for them. Beware, the Overmind. So the Overmind is the word. And then he mysteriously vanishes. And then following on that, they get another cryptic warning from their governess, Franklin's governess, Agatha Harkness. Reed Richards, you must hear my words. I am projecting my thoughts through the infinite in order to reach you. I sense grave danger awaiting the Fantastic Four. You all must flee while there is still time. So, and with that warning, they're going to go to City Hall. And let's read into that a little bit. Meanwhile, turn on the radio. See if there's any mention of the Overmind. That very name sends chills down my spine. And now, a special bulletin. The mayor has issued an executive order calling for the disbanding of the Fantastic Four. Okay, so they hear over the radio that the Fantastic Four is to be disbanded. The mayor has issued an executive order. And so they're going to go to City Hall and see what's going on. They're basically turning themselves in. And here they meet an obstinate mayor who doesn't want to hear any of their excuses, in spite of the fact of how many times they've saved the city from various menaces, including Galactus and many others, Doctor Doom as well. So they let's read a bit of this here, this last page, because a lot is communicated on this last page. Let me start here in the corner of the second to last. Far be it from me to place the entire universe in jeopardy, but if that's your story, may I simply suggest that the four of you surrender quietly? Okay, you heard his order. Now don't give us any trouble. Trouble from us. Oh, perish forbid. Ben, hold it. Don't do anything rash. Not even the Fantastic Four can place themselves above the law. Let's go. We'll let the captain settle this down at the precinct. You're making a fatal mistake every minute we waste. Stow it, Stretcho. Save it for David Suskind. They yielded just as you knew they would, and they never suspected a thing. But taking control of just one mind, such as yours, was almost too easy. Next, I will control your president and all your generals, and after that, every single ruler on every single nation of the earth. For mine is the power supreme. The time has come for the ancient prophecy to be fulfilled. From beyond the stars shall come the Overmind, and he shall crush the universe. To be continued. So we got that great shot of him on the cover. Pretty awesome cover. We get to see what he looks like. But in the story itself, we don't see him until the last page, mostly in silhouette, and then we get a headshot here. So, and he has clearly mesmerized the mayor. Pretty great. And so we'll move on to our next issue, 94. And who can stop the Overmind? Hey, you guys, look what's coming at us. Bonus, classic adventure of the original Ant-Man. Yeah, so there's going to be some Kirby Ant-Man in here as well. So here we have, but who shall stop the Overmind? Same creative crew, with the exception that Frank Giacoia is on the inks instead of Sinnott on Buscema's pencils. So here, our splash page, the FF is posting bail. And interestingly, Reed Richards says he's posting the $20,000 bail from his own savings from patents that he has been paid for his many inventions. Every now and then, we do get a little glimpse into the finances of the FF, and this is one of those. So they get out of the jail, they get out of the police precinct, and they're surrounded by a demanding media, and they just want to get out of the situation. And their pogo plane is parked on the roof. So Reed Richards instructs Johnny to create a smoke screen, and he uses his powers to activate the pogo plane and pilot it from hundreds of feet away, which is pretty great. And here we see the Overmind walking the streets of New York in his crazy cosmic raiment. My appearance has attracted the attention of the puny earthlings. And here they react. Must be some kind of advertising stunt. You know it. Let's have some fun with them. Hey, man, I heard of cats being out of this world, but you're too much. So take us to your leader, huh? Shall a colossus be plagued by mindless ants? The Overmind says no. Helpless ones, there is no need for you to look so fearful. You are not important enough to feel my might. I have no wish to harm you, yet. But I must spare myself the indignity of your loathsome curiosity. Thus, with a casual thought, I change my image in your eyes. So I walk among you while none suspect. That is, I who shall soon crush the world. So he has the duds of the time on now. Still a pretty menacing figure, standing well over 7 feet tall. He's a massive individual. And he notices the Fantastic Four and he wants to investigate them. I was not aware they had such power. I must learn more. And here is the first faithful encounter with the Thing. Hey, what gives? Who's the clown with the king-size mitt? Stand aside, human, if such you are. I wish to learn more about the one whose limbs can stretch. And this ship, I have never seen its like. It interests the Overmind. Big deal, I'm all shook up. So here they tussle, and this is great. You know, we talk about how well Sal draws the Sunday punch, the awesome blow that that is often delivered in comic super battles. But John was just as adept at it. I love, too, the scale difference between the characters demonstrated in these panels. The Overmind is just a massive, cosmically powerful foe, and we're going to learn more about him in these issues to come. But the Thing hits him, and the Overmind reacts negatively. The way he's looking at me, I can't move. It's like something burning in my skull. You're changing. You look different than you did before. Now you see me as I really am. Now you see the Overmind. So great action delivered by Buscema in this in the panel arrangement here. It's just really nice. The torch's flame has no effect. He just hurls it back at him as a transformed form of energy. Reed knocking him out. Reed rescues him. The invisible girl at this time, tries to imprison him in her force field, and he again uses his powers on her to stun her. Similarly stuns the Thing, and then he uses his powers to make them forget that they met all together and that they even battled. So then they go back to the Baxter building. The Thing receives a stink bomb in the mail from the Yancey Street gang, and he's about to go take revenge when Reed, of course, forestalls him. Ben, don't you understand the seriousness of our situation? Just when we're needed most, the whole city's against us. I know it wasn't your fault, but it all started with the fight between you and the Hulk. And this is our recap of the previous issue. And so we're now brought up to speed. Remember, every issue of a Marvel comic could be someone's first issue. So they always put these devices in to help with the storytelling so people weren't lost. We don't dare wait until the Overmind has a chance to make the first strike. And yet, there's nothing we can do unless. So here the Overmind returns to his hidden ship, his hidden base of operation. My mission cannot fail, for both my mind and body are the most powerful of all. Still, all must go according to plan. The ancient prophecy must be fulfilled. So look at him, just his limitless might here. And I think the original handbook of the Marvel Universe kind of like shortchanges his power a little bit, because they have his strength at a base of 10 tons, which he can then augment to 70 tons, which again doesn't really touch the strength of the Thing's 85-ton strength level. Based on their battles here, he seems much more powerful than that. And then this is neat too. We see, aside from the mother box, perhaps one of the first hints at an early portable computing device with this crazy tablet. And nothing here on Earth has the power to stop me. But every phase must be recorded. All that I do must be inscribed upon the tablet of the Eternals. So he calls himself an Eternal. And since this is a reprint title, Danny Findros includes a note that says that these Eternals are not related to the recent Eternals that have been appearing in Thor, because at this time there was a long story with Thor and the Eternals going on, really brilliantly drawn by Keith Pollard, well worth covering on the show. And moving forward into the future, maybe I'll do that. But back to our story here. No human knows, no human suspects, and if any should learn my secret, I'll seal his lips forever. So now back to the FF, they're having an in-person meeting with Agatha Harkness, who is really a powerful sorceress, almost on the level of Doctor Strange. Certainly as powerful as someone like Clea, who was Doctor Strange's understudy for a time. She uses her powers, augments them with the Thing's vitality and the Torch's energy, which is kind of a neat sequence, to reach out to the Watcher and bring him back for more information. So they're going to place a return call to the Watcher. In the name of Hex and Shade, let my mortal image fade. Let all distance turn to dust. Let my will supply the thrust. Let the rock become as air. Let the here become the there. She has come at last. You are the Watcher? Say no more. I have been awaiting you. I know why you have come. I will tell you of the Overmind. But such knowledge will not enable the Fantastic Four to alter the course of events. For once you learn the secret of the Overmind, you will know why the universe is doomed. When Wake the Eternals, next issue. I'll say with this sequence right here, if this sequence doesn't prove that Stan still had it, even at the end, I don't know what does, because this is just fantastic dialogue here. Some of the story beats are a little wonky and weird, and as I said before, quaint. Because, of course, the FF has seen every cosmic menace. Once you've beaten Galactus, the Overmind's awesome. I love the visuals on him. He's really cool. But he's not Galactus. So they do build up the tension and the drama and the stakes. They try to raise the stakes, but once you fought Galactus, it's kind of hard to raise those stakes every time to this higher level. Still a great story, though, and worth looking at for sure. It's just nice to see this level of writing and storytelling in a classic comic like this. We get this reprint of an Ant-Man story because they had extra pages to burn. So it's pretty cool. Not going to really spend a lot of time on it, but it is nice. I like it a lot. And I think we'll get another one of those coming up here as we go to issue 95. It's finally happened. Reed has turned against the FF. We've got to stop him. But how? How? The power of the Overmind. So our title is actually The Secret of the Eternals. And take a second just to gander at this splash page. Really incredible. And here we see in our credits the handing of the baton off. Plot, Stan Lee. Art, John Buscema. Script, Archie Goodwin. Inks, Joe Sinnott. Lettering, Artie Simic. So Archie Goodwin is now writing the words, the dialogue from Stan's plot. From beyond the stars shall come the Overmind, and he shall crush the universe. Though I am sworn merely to record the changing and passing of cosmic history, still do I find sympathy for those who called human, those who, with all their folly and madness, still carry the seed of greatness. However slight, you must have your chance to achieve it. Look then, as the heavens swirl and part. So we get a long, very well-rendered, well-told origin of the Eternals, which is a race of cosmic, immortal beings. Not the same Eternals that Jack Kirby created, and it's noted again in this story that they're not the same. It's just a coincidence of naming. And here, of course, is Grom. This is the Eternal who will, in fact, become the Overmind. The Eternals seek conquest in their immortality. They seek distraction. So they travel the galaxy looking for planets to conquer. And they find a peaceful world called Gigantus. And they assault it, thinking that their might will overcome the size disparity between their forces and those of Gigantus. But ultimately, they fall short. So let's see if we can catch the essence of it here. However, each beginning must have its end, even for the Eternals. It is impossible, impossible. We have never been under attack, never. They could not dare. But my lord, see the screen. Ships in numbers to darken the skies. They say but a fraction of Gigantus' population survived. Yet never have I beheld such an armada. We are Eternals. None are our equals. No matter what their number, our defenses shall repel them, destroy them. Reaction bombs. What? As our invasion faltered on Gigantus, so do our defenses founder before them here. The spirit of the Eternal shall not perish. Summon the scientists royal. Summon all for the final project. While we ruled the stars, there was no need to use this discovery, but now the champion Grom stands ready, my lord, as do the multitudes. In synthesizing chambers all over the globe, they wait. Then let it begin, the last great achievement of the Eternals. Let the brain power of all our surviving people be harnessed, transferred into him who is the mightiest Eternal of them all. The power of 1 billion brains synthesized into one. One mind to carry on for us, to triumph, to avenge. One mind that is truly Overmind. But before that power can reach fruition, there must be the long ages incubation period. But what are ages? Eons to an Eternal. It remains only to hide him from our enemies, and so he is transferred to the interstellar beamer, and it shall fire him into the trackless void beyond the galaxies. So he floats, and his power transforms this shape into a ship or a conveyance of some sort, a cosmic conveyance. And that was where the Watcher chooses to close his tale. I could tell you more, mortals, of the awesome instant he awoke, of the mental might that transformed latent spore into a spacecraft. But it is enough to know that he has come to your world, and that doom has begun. Otherwise, though I wish otherwise, I fear this knowledge cannot aid you. For already the Overmind has battled you, tested your powers, and found them no challenge. Watcher, wait, what are you saying? And with some nutty exit line, if this cosmic creep took us on, it sure didn't penetrate my baby blues. I wonder, Ben. A mind such as the Watcher described could be capable of wiping out memory and causing the city to turn against us as well. Of course, the brilliant Reed Richards deduces what happened. And so they have to resolve to face the Overmind and figure it out. But then suddenly Reed began to get very aggressive. It will take a superior intellect to challenge the Overmind. And in this group, only one person has that qualification, myself. Reed, I've never heard you talk this way. Me neither, Susie Gale. Curly, if there was an Overmind, I might think he'd put the kibosh on you. Shut up, you orange-skinned clown. Nobody asked your opinion. Reed, my wrist. So, Reed Richards goes crazy. He fights the Fantastic Four. And this is kind of a hint at when, much later in the series, we're going to get the Counter-Earth Reed Richards. This obviously isn't him, but it reminds me of that storyline as well. Of course, that storyline we had, I think, some George Perez artwork, which was great too. So, but that is far in the future. So Reed goes berserk. And again, John Buscema is so expert at drawing superhero action. Really cool at showing Reed Richards using his powers in various creative ways to evade the FF. And let's read our last page in toto. I'm sticking with you, Slippery, in my own little way. Uh-oh, the air vent. Well, I ain't never lost at Follow the Leader yet. Now where the heck did he go? Ben, hold it. Those conduits go everywhere. You'll tear the whole building down trying to follow him. Well, it's a thought, maybe not a good one. Then we've lost him. And who knows how much else we've lost. For if Overmind can so easily gain control of Reed, how do we stand against him? How does the world? Next, the alien, the ally, and Armageddon. And wait till you see the ally. And there is a great payoff for this too. Hinted at by me in an earlier show, because 96, as I'm going to show you the cover of and you've seen already, has Doc Doom on it. It's great. We have a couple more page backup story with Larry Lieber drawing and Jack Kirby inking Ant-Man, which is actually a nice combination. Very cool. And then finally we'll go on to issue 96. So this was an issue I picked up during the Ides sale. Really great. I paid, I think, 25 cents for it. And that caused me to go remember these previous issues and go back and grab them from Ides the other day. So I had all 4 to present at once. All thrills. All new thrills as Reed Richards is replaced by Doctor Doom, the Alien, the Ally, and Armageddon. What a great cover. Totally awesome. And let's check our creative team. This time, Stan Lee is just listed as the editor. Archie Goodwin is the writer. John Buscema, artist. Joe Sinnott, inker. Artie Simic, letterer. Danny Fingeroth, reprint editor. Bring you this epic length ending to the brain-searing saga of the Overmind. So, in the wake of Reed's departure, seemingly mad departure, the FF is left to try to figure out what to do next. Easy, sis, easy. If ever we didn't get shook, it's got to be now. We need to think this through, form a plan, the way Reed would if Overmind had grabbed one of us instead. Of course, you're right, Johnny. It's just, I'm so upset. If only we even knew where the Overmind was or how to find him. So they're going to try to find a way to detect how to track him down. Ben, that's it. The radioactivity isn't enough to harm anyone. But if Reed was exposed long enough it may be traceable. Then what are we waiting for? Let's get out the Geiger counter and move. So as Reed Richards escaped, he exposed himself to some radioactivity in one of the devices. They're going to use it to track him down. Meanwhile, the Overmind is blasting Reed Richards' brain, torturing him, trying to gain complete control over him. You would only do so if you had a plan. And as petals may one by one be stripped from the flower, so shall I tear away the layers of your thoughts until that plan is revealed. Must fight, think of anything else. So he's trying to get at the knowledge Reed Richards has, but arriving seemingly in time to save him is the FF. And we're going to get a pretty great return engagement battle here with Overmind. Not yet, it won't, Whiskers. Let's go, Ben. The time is now. Okay, Flame Brain, but don't hog all the glory. It is not glory either of you will find this encounter, but defeat. For the plan of Reed Richards is now plain to me. So, Reed's ability to outthink the Overmind, he stripped it away from him and learned what he needed to learn. The Thing punches him here to no effect. What are you trying to pull? That was my best Sunday punch. Thick-witted oaf. Do you believe the Overmind's power limited to his brain alone? And again, he pummels the Thing. And for my money, this next page is the most incredible page in this 4-issue story. Look at this full page action. It is incredible. Meanwhile, though, before we do that, let's read some of the Invisible Girls dialogue here. I've been monitoring Johnny and Ben's fight with the Overmind. They're barely holding their own. I must join them. And with the I see now Reed intentionally called the Overmind's attention to himself. And with the Overmind engaged in controlling Reed, he couldn't turn his full powers on the rest of us. But now my powers are needed. The group's female members approach. I sense that she radiates some manner of invisible force, surrounding me and trapping me within it. Don't get all panicky, lambkins. It's just going to be there long enough for me and Torchy to put you away once and for all. Gross, Bumbling insects, will you never understand? If more power be needed, I have but to summon it forth, and more, and more, and more, until the earth trembles, until the heavens quake, until the stars themselves fall down in fear of Overmind. Yeah, just a rocking panel. Look at that Kirby crackle there. Just awesome. And Overmind animates Reed Richards into attacking his wife, and she runs away, knowing that she can't win if she stays. And the whole city has run amok from the Overmind's influence. Dear Lord, the city. Yes, Sue Richards, the city, where on any given day hundreds may walk the street, minds tainted by hate, festering with the seeds of ignorance, of violence. The Overmind has said his power is growing, radiating. These then are the first touched. Okay, so he's causing mass chaos. And she goes to Agatha Harkness, or she's hopeless, and then Agatha Harkness reaches out to her. Once again, I project my thoughts to you across the infinite, Susan. I know, child, but there is one you overlook. One natural prejudice prevents you from turning to. Who? Tell me who? And then she shows her an image of Dr. Doom, which is awesome. So she never thought of going to the Latvian embassy to see if Doom was home and engaging his aid. So she bursts in and finds Doom sitting there casually smoking and monitoring what the events going on around the city. You speak as though you know what I want. Could I be uninformed and still be Dr. Doom? Obviously, this is not an attack. Obviously, you seek aid. So this is great. Sue Richards is supremely gifted in manipulating Doom. She knows what buttons to push, because initially he says no. Then I see I've wasted my time. The Dr. Doom I remember might be ruthless and cold, but he had honor and nobility too. Instead, I encounter posturing and pettiness, or perhaps a man a little afraid. Hold, Susan Richards. Many demons rule Victor Von Doom, but not those of pettiness or fear. Very well, I am with you. Then let's hurry. So Doom shows up with Sue Richards, and the unconscious Torch and Thing are revived. And initially, of course, they think Doom's there to menace them. Johnny, Ben, stop. Dr. Doom is here because I asked him. This time, he's fighting on our side against the Overmind. Him? And us? Girlie, you gotta be out of your gourd. Wait, big buddy. It does make sense. A weird kind of sense. The Overmind is a threat to the whole world, including Doom's stake in it. There is no time for chatter. We must move to attack now. So they're causing a distraction, and then Doom shows up. And I love reading their interactions here, because this time they are done under my direction, in keeping with my strategies. Turn your eyes from the Torch, Overmind. Doom approaches. Is that a name, or do you pretend to pronounce my fate? I find either foolish indeed. Perhaps you judge too quickly. I do not judge, verdant-cloaked fool. I destroy. No, you play into the trap, for the psionic refractor my genius devised turned your own mental bolts back upon you. Where's Doom get off grabbing all the credit for that gizmo? Susie told me he built it from something Reed already had started. We can hassle on the copyright later, Ben. Right now, it's our turn to strike. So, initially they get the upper hand, but the battle starts going back to the Overmind. I can bring the psionic refractor back into play, but I am weakening, and the intensity of his attack mounts. The side effects alone stun the Torch and the Thing. Now, Susan Richards, it is time for our last line of defense. So she projects a field around Doom to save him, but of course Reed still under Overmind's control, attacks her, leaving Doom in a bad spot. Without the protection of the force field, that which I most feared may happen. The components of the psionic refractor explode. They could not stand up under such prolonged mind blast. Though I reel from your mind blast, I still stand, and while Doom stands, he fights. With every weapon of my armor, with every ounce of my will, I fight. The air fills with a terrible sound, as though a billion voices shriek in rage. Then the screaming storm that flows from the brain of the Overmind passes. And as after the passing of all storms, there is silence. Great shot of Doom just defeated here. The prophecy comes true. From beyond the stars shall come the Overmind, and he shall crush the universe. And in the night sky, a pinpoint of light swells and grows brighter, larger, becoming a dazzling comet form streaking toward the earth. A fireball hurtling for the city. From its spreading vapors, out of its hellfire core, something forms. Who are you, and why do you appear here now? In this world, in all worlds, save my own, I am the stranger. I come because it is time, because you have summoned me. So we get a surprise visit from the stranger here at the end when all things seems hopeless. Meanwhile, as Reed Richards throttles Sue Richards, his wife, she thinks of all the people she loves, and Reed snaps out of it. His powerful will overcomes the Overmind's control, maybe because the Overmind is otherwise occupied. But Sue Richards sobs, half relief, half anxiety are lost in the thunder of giants speaking. You lie, stranger. The Overmind did not summon you, but whoever you are, whatever your purpose, my power of a billion brains will... What? It does not harm, does not touch you, but you are the sum total of the mighty Eternals. You were the Eternals. Yet were the Eternals not once defeated by the survivors of Gigantus, world which dwarfed galaxies? Know this, Overmind. As you are all the power of the Eternals, so the stranger is the sum those of Gigantus, the power of a billion brains and more. So in this awesome sequence, the stranger puts the Overmind in his place. Just an incredible display of raw power. And thus it is done. The eons-old trust placed in me fulfilled. The stranger can quit this single dismal planet for the glory of the stars and the cosmic pursuits I find there. As for the Overmind, he may revel in an ancient prophecy come true. He who came from beyond the stars now has his universe to crush, a dead and lifeless universe within a mote of dust. And within that subatomic void, lost and drifting in the nameless particle of dust, there is a scream. So, a pretty incredible Deus Ex Machina. Of course, the stranger arrives to pull everyone's fat out of the fire. Everyone recovers. And Doom, I love this two-panel sequence here. But Dr. Doom needs neither your pity nor any thanks you may proffer. This night a cosmic drama was enacted. I played the role assigned me, as did you. But it is ended, and Doom plays no more. When next we meet, it will be on my terms, in my way, and it will not be as allies. That's really great. I think this really kind of, I don't know that prior to this we ever got this kind of level of nuance with Doom as a character, and it's really cool. It was great to use him as an ally in this issue. And of course, the Watcher shows up to tie up some loose ends, and our story ends. What an incredible 4-issue arc. What an incredible ending to this epic reprint title. Sadly canceled after issue 96. And I teased, the Overmind I think shows up again next in Defenders 112. A couple of years, well, in Marvel terms, probably 12 years after this was published, because this was published in 71 and this was published in 82. But if you read this as a reprint in 81, about a year or a year and a half later, you would see Overmind show up in this Defender story, this 4-part Defender story, which is really good, has a Squadron Supreme. Again, something I need to cover. But this was a long one. Sorry there was a bit of a gap between this episode and the last one, but I'm glad I'm here and I'm glad you joined me. So if you did like this content, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends. I'll bring you more soon on Scott Reads Comics. Thanks for watching.